Hello everyone, KROW here, and we're finally back with another hero analysis video. This time it's the current #1 Reinhardt in Asia, RunawayTrain, who's renowned for his crazy shenanigans with a coined charge hack for his ridiculous usage of his ability. You might remember him from the ultimate one-trick team for his crazy high sense that makes you want to have seizures. Watching this guy quite literally burns my eyes. And across working as a data engineer during the day, playing Overwatch, and working on our videos by night, my eyes get completely destroyed from fatigue and strain, and I imagine all of you can relate, especially considering how much contrast and fast movement there is in Overwatch. Whether it's work or grinding out the competitive ladder, we're getting so much exposure to blue light through our screens, and what sucks is that blue light strains your eyes, gives you headaches, and the most well-known one gives you trouble falling asleep. Now, I've gotten the chance to try out the optimizer from GMG Performance, and honestly, it's been a banger. I've been using them for the past week and staring at a screen today for 18 hours straight, and my eyes are actually not that strained at all for the first time in ages. What I really love about these glasses is that the colors don't get heavily distorted, so you can still enjoy what you see. Not only are you getting the benefits of protecting your eyes, the color retention and sleek design makes them pleasant to wear regularly as well. And lucky for you, we have a huge limited time offer, giving you a whopping 40% discount at GMG Performance for 48 hours starting today, so make sure to grab yourself a pair before the promotion ends using the link in the description below. Back to our seizure-causing Reinhardt, he's still a great pick, but he's limited by the stereotypes that people have about his playstyle because of his role in Overwatch 1. Right off the bat, RunawayTrain uses charge to take a flank route to high ground rather than approaching from main. He's denying the angles from the enemy team by making use of his tankiness, and unlike some of the other tanks that have weaker frontlining capabilities, Reinhardt can forcibly push out enemies from favorable positions. Now that he's taking control of the high ground that the enemies really want to utilize in order to poke and engage early, he waits for the payload to approach the choke. As our ally Echo gets picked off, the enemies exhaust cooldowns to engage onto our supports, but RunawayTrain peels for the backline with charge and cuts off the enemy Doomfist. He overstays his welcome, so our Rein gains the opportunity to punish the enemy tank who has no cooldowns left to escape. We spot the enemy Widow and Symmetra, and RunawayTrain manages to get a pick with his charge. When we asked RunawayTrain about how he's able to land so many surprise charges, he replied that like how Zenyatta has spots to get easy value out of his right click, Reinhardt also has his own spots and timings that lead to a higher chance of pinning the enemies. From any kind of choke like this one, the payload has to progress further in order for your supports to push forward and in turn enable you to engage deeper into the enemy team. So you see RunawayTrain not overextending past the choke like how many tank players make the mistake of forcing themselves into the enemy team out of a desire to break the choke. By staying disciplined, we were able to hold out long enough for our allies to take control of the fight using Kitsune Rush and Blizzard. But based on the enemy team composition, our team holds the advantage the longer the fight drags on. RunawayTrain pushes up ahead of time to take control of the high ground even before the first point is capped. This way, Reinhardt can take away the options that the enemy supports and Widowmaker have in terms of positioning. Once our teammates create an opening, he drops down to get additional staggers onto the enemy team. Once we've cleared one side of the map, we push up into the bread and butter spot for hit scan heroes on Dorado Point 2 defense. Since we have Earth Shatter on hand, we can take the opportunity to further stagger the enemies while having the mindset of escaping back to our team. On payload maps, if you can continue staggering enemies like this, your team will be able to continuously push the payload halfway across the map for free. Because Reinhardt is holding the high ground, the enemies should be trying to enter through the opposite side. But because they're really insisting on taking the spot anyway, we continue taking away time from the enemy team while herding the cattle away to a forced position with our hammer. Now, here's the important part. Once the payload gets under the bridge, we have to abandon the high ground on coast and move to the bridge side of the map. From the enemy team's perspective, not only are they being forced to use just one of the high ground positions at a time, they're forced to position directly above the payload, creating an awkward angle to shoot the allies taking cover. Once we've shifted positions to the bridge, the enemy backline is forced to drop onto the ground, which gives us an easy fight, removing the enemy's defensive high ground advantage. I swear, RunawayTrain is basically a gigabuff tracer with a 1200 HP shield. Each time the spawn points change, he takes control of space ahead of time, which gives you the ability to either take control of high ground, side angles, or the enemy flank. When the allies are using a powerful ult or the enemies exhaust a movement ability, we turn on the charge hack. It's kind of crazy how he's able to land these unorthodox pins. Here's a major tip when you have Earth Shatter available as Reinhardt. If the enemies don't have any barriers but they try to force hold the high ground, we just walk up the stairs and slam that thing down. The second the enemies get shattered, it's basically a GG. One of the reasons Reinhardt is kind of difficult to utilize is because the team expects you to play like a stereotypical Overwatch 1 Reinhardt. There are a ton of players who will yell at you to sit there in the front line while holding up the shield if you have a remotely unorthodox playstyle. But if you think of Reinhardt as a wrecking ball with stronger frontlining capabilities, it's not as difficult as you imagine in terms of adapting to this type of playstyle as a teammate. RunawayTrain utilizes sound cues and sightline checks to immediately slam the accelerator for a pin. He uses the high ground window and shield to keep tabs on what's going on below him by the payload. Once Doomfist and KROW gets onto the point, he immediately charges again to stop the engage from the enemy team. The enemy KROW peeks out the corner to shoot, revealing her position, and RunawayTrain completely outplays her by pretending not to chase, then uses the shield to check the KROW's position for a beautiful charge. On defense, we can see that our Reinhardt likes to split out first for an angle, then charge into the relative direction of the allies. We lose the first point, but that's alright. Ooh, good read from the KROW. Fast forward, we end up losing the fight, and now we're on the last point of the map. The team regrouped just as they lost the second point, so RunawayTrain plans on hard pressing the choke. When the allies are on main, he stays one step ahead in terms of positioning. He wants to put pressure on the enemies with his charge, but it's difficult to apply pressure when the enemies are fully focused on you. There isn't much time left to reposition to the flank, so in moments where we have to contest the cart, the primary focus is to pressure back the enemy frontline. Ooh, now that's what I call a Ryan. If I had to describe this playstyle, it would be a perfect combination of Ball and Tracer's tendency to utilize side and flank angles, while mixing in a bit of Sigma's space control. And that's it for today folks, and stay tuned for a highlight video coming soon to showcase RunawayTrain's playstyle. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.